What is up, team? Welcome back to the Red Storm Rapid Reaction Podcast. I'm Pat Kane. St. John's just beat LIU Blackbirds, or formerly the Blackbirds, the Sharks, whatever they are now, a meaningless out-of-conference opponent at a score of 95 to 68 to move to 8-0 on the season. 8-0, that sounds great. Still a lot to be determined, a lot to be proven. And finally, we will get that chance this coming Sunday against Iowa State. We're going to talk a little bit about that game later on, do a little bit of a preview, show some stuff. I advise you guys, if you're listening via the podcast, via Spotify or Apple Podcast, give YouTube a try. We got some visuals that will be nice to check out for this game and for the Iowa State game. But tonight against LIU, we came out early, asserted our dominance inside with Soriano. LIU was obvious from the start, was perhaps the weakest opponent we've seen to date. Did nothing to prepare us for the game against Iowa State, unfortunately, except perhaps get Posh back in the swing of things. But Soriano early was aggressive inside. That was good to see. He even had a couple moves over his right shoulder, which he's tried the last couple games. He's been solid, as always, turning over his left shoulder with that baby hook and just corralling a bunch of rebounds and finishing with ferocity and tenacious underneath the rim with some huge dunks. Curbelo was snagging rebounds like a big man in the first half, all over the place. I'm not sure what he finished with. We'll see later on, but he was all over the glass early on, making plays other than looking to score. He did have a couple of nice baskets, including the last 4 points in the first half. Big crossover and a nice finish to end the half. LIU did miss a bunch of open threes in the first half. I think they were 0 for 10 in the first half. It wasn't all because of our defense. Not saying we were pouring that in, but they did miss some good looks. They were not particularly great shooters. They did get going a little bit in the second half, but we were easily able to take a 20-point lead within the first half, finish the half up 24 points. I thought there were some times we had low energy on offense, but when we were able to turn them over and get out on the break, we looked good, similar to what we've seen so far this year. And until we are able to successfully score in the half court in meaningful minutes for long stretches, we'll have a lot to still prove to fans and make sure we turn that corner, being able to be a successful team in close games in the second half. Albeit we did see it against Temple, we did see it against Syracuse, we need to see it in further games against tougher competition, NCAA tournament level competition, and we're not sure at this moment whether Syracuse or Temple fit that bill. A couple of things I didn't like in the first half as well. We had extended defense, and we saw some good, but we also had Stanley as part of the starting team, and as the power forward, he was guarding the ball on the other side of the half court line. He got beat twice, I believe, doing that. I think he's a very good defender for a big man in the half court, but asking him to do that is just, what you're going to get. He's not suited to guard the ball 60 feet away from the rim. It's just going to lead to blow-bys and then scrambles and then easy baskets or foul trouble or the rest. So that was a little head-scratching. We didn't see that as the game went on. But overall, I think Stanley has been a nice addition. I don't know if you want to call him addition to the starting lineup these last two games, but has played well overall this year. He's shooting close to 75% or 70% on the year. He had a dunk tonight. I don't think he missed. Other than that, he had a nice couple passes. Last game, he had a nice pass from high-low from the free throw line to Soriano on a dump down to a little high-low quick look. And today, he caught it in the high post and passed opposite to an open shooter on the wing. So he's showing some added dimensions too. So it's good to see. The second half, I thought we came out with better energy. We turned them over quickly. We got some easy baskets on some runouts and some turnovers from Jones. Curbelo had a couple nice baskets inside. He's got a really impressive in-between game. He's able to keep his dribble alive and kind of play with it. Sometimes too much, we've seen, but he can snake in between screens. He can keep his dribble alive, like I said, and kind of make plays as the play develops. Whereas Posh is kind of a full speed kind of guy, get it and go, attack when he gets it, and it's a nice contrast. But it's good to have a guy like Curbelo who can make something out of nothing, and not exactly when there's times it looks like whenever he's screwed, he can kind of pull a rabbit out of his hat. It's the menace and the maestro, as I like to call those two. Red Storm Rapid Reaction Podcast, patent pending there. I thought Storr Had some nice passes, had a couple nice contributions away from scoring tonight. That's good. I still want to see him get more active on the glass, but he had a nice dump off pass to Soriano. I think he had a nice pass ahead. He did have a nice leak out where he finished with a dunk, showed off his athleticism, which he has plenty of. King did the same with a leak out, got up really quick. I think maybe pound for pound, King might be the best athlete we have. And then the bigs. NY got some minutes. He had a nice dunk off an alley oop from half court via Posh Alexander. And Muhammad, the freshman, had a couple nice moments too. A real nice dunk off a drop off pass from King as well. So everyone got to see some time. Wusu did not look particularly good. The one guy who didn't really have anything stand out in a positive direction throughout the game. I thought in the first half he just looked lazy. It looked like he wasn't particularly interested in the game, and for whatever reason that may be, I think he's got a lot to prove. He's a couple all right games. Other than that, he's been below average. So he's got to put his foot on the gas and stay focused and get back to how I know he can play and how this team needs him to play. We'll have a big opportunity against Iowa State where they got a lot of strong guards, and we'll need him fighting it not only on the perimeter but helping out on the boards. But let's take a look at the box score while we're here. Please keep subscribing to the YouTube channel. Guys, I really do appreciate it. Here it is. All right. Curbelo led the way scoring. He had 18 points. He was 8 for 11 from the field. So he's been kind of Jacqueline Hyde in terms of field goal percentage throughout the year. He's had a couple of games where he was 2 for 9s and 3 for 11s, and he's had a couple of really good ones like tonight and against Syracuse where he's 9 for 13. But he also had 8 rebounds. Like I said, he was flying around, really helping on the glass. He's got a good wingspan, it appears. He takes up a lot of space in the passing lanes and helps out on the boards. 7 assists as well. He did have 4 turnovers, continues to be a little bit too many, if you ask me, but a great overall game from him and someone who has completely changed our dynamic. Posh, in his return back from the concussion protocol, 12 points, 2 for 4 from 3. Good to see him finally hit his first threes of the year. He had 2. So I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, I think St. John's is undefeated in Posh's career when he's had multiple threes. John Rossi, please fact check me there. He had 12 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, only 2 turnovers. And then Joel Soriano, Mr. Double-Double himself, 16 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 block. No offensive rebounds. I'm surprised that he didn't get one. I know he was active here. I'm sure he had a couple tips that led to offensive rebounds by other guys. So, Stanley, only 2 points. He had that dunk. I guess he did miss a field goal, so he was 1 for 2, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 blocks. He's been seems like he's been more advanced this year in terms of blocking shots. He's had a few games with multiple blocks. And then Jones, 7 for 13, 14 points, 3 rebounds. He was 0 for 4 from 3, so take those away. He was 7 for 9 from inside the arc. Would like to see him continue to be aggressive attacking the rim, let the threes kind of supplement his inside game, not vice versa, but we will need him to stretch the floor a little bit. No free throws attempted. Again, I'd like to see him looking to get to the free throw line. Tonight, I thought the refs kind of let us play overall. Both teams, we were 4 for 10 from the free throw line. Not impressive. LIU, they were 8 for 20, equally unimpressive, but still they got to the line twice as many times as us. Off the bench, Pinzone led the way. He's very aggressive. I forgot to mention Pinzone in the opening recap. He was very aggressive, looking to score right away. He hit a jumper on the baseline that was, feathery smooth. Then he hit a nice 3 where he stepped into in good rhythm. I have to be honest. It looked like he was looking to hunt his shot early, and he happened to make them early. So it changes the perception of how he played. Obviously, shots go in. You play great, shots don't go in. He's hunting his shots. I think it's all about him getting in rhythm, him getting comfortable out there. The more he'll play, the less it will look like he's perhaps forcing things. Tonight, those shots that he was taking went in for the most part. 5 for 9 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and 4 rebounds as well, and 14 points. That might be his career high. But I just want to see him stay healthy. I want to see him get consistent minutes, consistent opportunity, and get comfortable out there. I've said it before. I think his offensive talent could lend well. I think it could be above that in terms of scoring, above Wusu and Mathis. And, right there was Storr, but he's got to get comfortable, and it's a different dimension, and he hasn't been able to stay healthy. So here's to Rafael Pinzone having a nice stretch of health and good play. NY had 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3 for 4 from the field. Traore had a nice mid-range jumper, 2 points, 2 rebounds. That kid cheers his ass off on the sidelines during the game. It's good to see him get a couple minutes during this game. Keita had 4 points. He had one dunk. I can't remember the other one. I think it might have been a tip-in. King, 2 points, 2 assists, 1 steal. Store, 3 points, 3 assists, 1 steal. And Wusu was 1 for 2. He had a finish inside. He had 3 rebounds, an assist, a steal, and a turnover. He also stepped on the line out of bounds in the first half off a lazy mistake. But St. John's moves to 8-0. We have Iowa State this Sunday at 3 o'clock. I got some stuff we can talk about real quick. I'll put it up on the screen. So if you look at this is just a comparison, St. John's versus Iowa State coming in, and I know you can't really quite. This isn't an accurate description because it's not tempo adjusted, but St. John's we're scoring 82 points a game. Iowa State's 73. We're allowing 68 points a game. Iowa State's allowing 58. That's a really low number. Iowa State does a good job defensively. They slow the game down. They force a lot of turnovers. We have the slight edge in field goal percentage, 47-45. We have more rebounds again, 43-35. That's not exactly 1-to-1. Assists, a higher number to theirs again, but their 16 on the amount of points they score might be more impressive to our 17 and 82 points a game. We have a couple more blocks, and we have less steals. Surprisingly, we hang our hat on our ability to turn teams over. Iowa State 11 steals a game to our 10. So that's something to look out for. Iowa State in the last 5 games, you just saw them lose a game against Connecticut, who is very impressive this early in the season. Connecticut beat them by 18 points. I watched most of that game. Iowa State I thought was impressive in the half-court defense, forcing UConn into deep possessions, but they were able to eventually exploit their strength on the inside and then hit shots on the perimeter. They were just too much for them to handle, but I think Iowa State proved worthy of the 23 ranking they have in the AP poll. They beat North Carolina the day before, 70-65, and they beat Villanova the day before that in overtime. We know Villanova is not the Villanova of years past, but still, they have a way of sneaking out those close games. You beat Villanova on a neutral court. I think that's still a quality win. They are 5-1 on the season. They're ranked 23rd in the country, as I said. Let's take a look at their stats. They're led by Jaren Holmes. He's a senior. Matter of fact, 7 of their 8 players, 7 of their top 8 players are seniors. A lot of them are transfers in. A lot of experience, a lot of age, and a lot of toughness on this team as far as I can see. But Jaren Holmes leads the way with 16.7 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. He's a big, strong guard. He's 6'4". He's a transfer from St. Bonaventure. He likes to control the game, control the tempo, use ball screens at the top of the offense, and kind of get in the paint and make plays happen. He's not a lights-out shooter from 3. He doesn't take a bunch, but he is capable of making it. As you can see, he's 36% on the season. But he is their main guy. He's a good defender. He'll have the ball in his hands the most. He'll be making plays for others. Their other guards, Caleb Grill and Gabe Kalcher, they're more of shooters, more scorers, not as much of playmakers. Both those guys look to take a handful of threes. They're up and down as shooters. They have the capacity and the capability of making threes and getting hot, as we saw Grill do the other day against Carolina. But they're under 30% of the season. So they're not exactly knockdown threes, but they're guys who are capable. It'll be interesting to see who guards those guys. If Mathis is back, Caleb Grill is someone that he could, potentially shadow while he's running off screens. He's a little bit different than a Joe Girard, who is more off the dribble, not as quick to use screens and get open. Grill's an athletic kid. He likes to run off the baseline. Interesting to see who guards him and Kalcher. I think Kalcher's a guy we can bottle up. He doesn't scare me as much as Grill does, but still, he's a veteran. He's a guy who's averaged about 10 points for multiple seasons. He's had up and down shooting numbers, but still somebody who you got to keep an eye on. And then their big guys, Kuntz, he's their power forward, leads them in rebounding, 7.5 points, 6.3 rebounds. He's a pretty good inside-outside player, makes about a 3 a game, can do some things on the inside. And then Osuni, I might be pronouncing that wrong. He's the other St. Bonaventure transfer. So Holmes and Osuni are meeting back up together after a year apart. He's a big man, 6'10", 6'11", rangy, can block shots. He's an athletic guy. They have a platoon system with bigs. Jones is a 6'10" kid off the bench, and Ward is another 6'10" kid off the bench. Ward gets the least minutes, but I've been impressed with him in the time I've seen. He's big, he's athletic, he's averaging 5.5 rebounds in only 12 minutes a game, 1.8 steals in only 12 minutes a game. So he's made a difference in the time he's in there. Someone we got to keep an eye on. And then their freshman guard Lipsy, kind of in the Posh Alexander mold, small, tough, get in the paint, defender, doesn't hurt you from three. He's yet to hit a three on the season. We can look at their totals. As you can see, some things I pointed out, those two guys, Grill and Coucher, they've took the most threes on the year. Their percentages aren't great, but they're looking to get them up. As a team, they've only took 38 threes so far, so they don't really kill teams from three. That plays into our hands, but we got to make sure we're not leaving them wide open off, overextensions. They do look to attack the glass. Those offensive rebound numbers are impressive. Osuni, Kuntz, Jones, and Ward all have nice numbers there. Ward, especially in those limited minutes, has 13 offensive rebounds. We got to make sure we're keeping guys off the glass, boxing out, and not just jumping in our area, put bodies on guys. And then their turnovers looks like something we can exploit. Jones, will have the ball in his hands most, has 17 turnovers on the season. Lipsy, their freshman point guard, has 11. If we apply some good pressure there, we can look to exploit them, turn them over. I think it will be a battle there. Can we force more turnovers than they can? Can we force the tempo better than they can slow it down? They do like to, create turnovers in the half court. They do a lot of high hedging. As you can see, Jones, Lipsy, and Ward, as well as Culture, all have double-digit steals in the season. But it should be a really good test for us this early part of the season. We're able to get a win against a top 25 team on the road. It proves that we're worthy. It proves that the wins we've had up to this point aren't meaningless. That there's some merit to the team that had those wins. It wasn't just us, beating the teams we're supposed to beat, that we are a legitimate undefeated team. But if you go out there and you put a stinker up there and you get blown out, you're never in the game. You're down 10 to 15 points for the majority of the game, never really in contention. That can shine really poorly on your team and can have a lasting negative effect on the season. We'll have to prove ourselves just even more. And then you're playing with fire with the remaining out-of-conference games. If you were to slip up against the Florida State team at that point, who is looking, quite honestly, abysmal, as bad as you can be if you're not Louisville, what the hell's happening there, Kenny Payne? Jesus Christ, bring in the pain. You put yourself at a disadvantage. So let's go out there for once and do something we're not expected to do. All right, I see a lot of projections, 25% win by a lot of ratings. We'll probably be upwards of 4 to 6 point underdogs. Who knows, on the road against top 25 team. Let's go out there and do it. Let's come out hot. Let's stay hot. Let's execute in the half court. Let's put a beating on a team early on the season. Let's prove our worth. I freaking can't wait. But guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe. Please keep listening to iTunes and Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. For Tomas Yesalonis, as you may know him, this has been Pat Kane. Peace.